Greetings, nerds. This is Cena Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
I enjoyed my Christmas in July. How about you?
It was good. It was refreshing.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yeah, it was refreshing. It's one of those things. I tweeted this out, I guess, either yesterday or Saturday, but it went in a conversation with someone, and it really did feel like Christmas in July. You don't realize how much we've kind of missed it. And I know I was saying that we kind of got this excitement with DC fandom in 2020 when we thought that, oh, this is just going to be a short-term thing, and who knew it was going to stretch out for 2 years. But the Comic-Con at home thing just never really captured the magic that was that we witnessed this weekend. And even though there weren't like a lot of live streaming from the hall, it was still just fun to just see this stuff break, and people's reactions, people in San Diego and all that with Comic-Con. So yeah, it was definitely a good weekend.
Yeah, definitely. So to jump right into the long Christmas in July weekend, Marvel animated panel kicked off things on Friday, where they announced that What If Season 2 has already been renewed for Season 3 and will drop in early 2023. So when will What If Season 2 drop?
Early 2023. Sorry.
Okay, so do you see on the rundown why this is going to be?
Well, you were following this stuff too, right?
No, but I'm confused. Like, why does it say Season 2 renewed for Season 3?
No, What If Season 2 was just a caption just for the section. It has been renewed for a third season. That was one of the news items that came out from the panel on Friday.
See, what listeners don't realize is my whole plan is just to make fun of your rundown notes while we go through this long weekend. To spice things up, because I'm sure they've already listened to like 5 podcasts about what happened over the weekend. So this is just mainly me critiquing your rundown notes.
You're so mean to me.
The ordering is very misleading here.
No, it was just, I'm sorry. It was stream of consciousness as I was just like I was capturing things as they were coming.
It's okay. I feel like that's what you want our listeners to think. And yet I really do sometimes think the way you put things on the rundown, I'm like, you're trying to get me to trip up. You're trying to get me.
No, I'm not trying to get you to trip. No, I'm not. No, I see. I appreciate you. I don't do that to you.
Well, in other news about What If, they also announced that Marvel Zombies will get a season of television, and it will pick up from the first season What If episode that Will absolutely adored, if memory serves correctly.
I thought you liked the zombie episode better than I did.
Oh, I know. I was being sarcastic about that.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't your favorite. I liked it just because of the Spider-Man piece.
I did like the Spider-Man piece. I did like that. Yeah.
I
did but the rest of it, I was like, yeah, not my thing. But I will say though that from the description of the season, the new Marvel Zombie, the spinoff from What If season 1. A couple things. One, it's going to be rated TVMA. So, so Marvel and Disney Plus is taking full advantage now of the parental controls function that they have on there, and also as far as they're really going to sprinkle in a lot of the folks that we've seen from Phase 4 and the second in this new Marvel Zombie. So it's like, Yelena's going to be in it as far as one of the heroes, Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan as well. So they're really tapping into some of the characters we've seen in live action this past phase into the Marvel Zombies.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I think that what these two announcements really do is just a reminder, whether you liked What If, whether you didn't, whether you still haven't watched it, What If, as they originally stated, will impact the future phases of this franchise. So it is important to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is, as they said later on in the weekend, this is the multiverse saga, and What If is all multiverse all the time. Granted, it did probably steepen my expectations for Doctor Strange too, and that's why there's problems with that movie.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, yeah. Same for me, and going back to just the. I know we got a little sidetracked on the second season of What If, but they did show one of the full episodes at I guess the season premiere at Comic-Con in Ballroom 20, and we got it was I guess Captain Carter showed Peggy Returns, and I saw a trailer actually online, and it looked really really good because it and tracks with what I've heard as far as what happened in Ballroom 20, as far as there's Steve Rogers is the Peggy's going against the Hydra Stomper, which we saw in What If season 1. That was Steve's thing in the What If universe, and then also saw it was like Bucky as Captain America, and in his Winter Soldier garb with the shield. So it was, yeah. So there were quite a bit of pretty amazing things in that trailer, and of course it did have a full episode in the ballroom that Friday afternoon, and also we'll also, again, they're sprinkling in a lot of folks that we've seen in the later phases, as far as Shang-Chi, the Valkyrie, Korg, and others. So yeah, you're right. I mean, hopefully, I think from our experience from season 1, we should just not necessarily think that some of the things that happened in this multiverse of What If will show up in the live action universe. But then again, maybe it was just the What If writers and the Doctor Strange writers just not like talking or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also announced that Spider-Man will be getting an animated TV show called Spider-Man Freshman Year, and Charlie Cox is set to voice Daredevil in this series, and Tom Holland will not be voicing Peter Parker, but whoever they got to do him in the voice in What If, I thought was fine. Really, yeah, it wasn't jarring to me, so I would just keep that actor if I was them. And already a second season is in the works, and it will premiere in 2024. We're going to definitely talk about Daredevil with some later news, but this is coming. I'm not that excited about this show. I do have to admit that, just because it's taking place it's like the Black Widow situation.
Yeah.
Where there's something about the way this saga and these sagas unfold with the MCU, where you like the chronology and you like how certain events impact future movies, not necessarily past events.
Yeah.
But I can understand why they're doing it, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong, and there will be something in the very last episode that ties in to whenever we see Spider-Man 4, whenever that gets announced.
Yeah, and also the other thing too about this particular series is that it looks like, again, given that we're in the multiverse saga, learning a little bit more about the Spider-Man Freshman Year, it looks like it could be a multiverse scenario too, where, for one, for obvious reason that Tom's not voicing it, but then we see characters like Harry Osborn is actually going to be African American. There, a lot of the villains that as part of the Sinister Six and others that are part of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery are going to be showing up, as far as Octavius again, and Chameleon and some others. So yeah, so there's definitely looking at some of the concept art from the panel that was released online. There's definitely some wiggle room that they're going to have with this particular show. And yeah, and I think for me, it's kind of like, given that we didn't get any kind of trailer, and the freshman year is not going to even premiere until 2024. It's one of those projects that, it's kind of off in the distance that, maybe we'll get more details about it at D23. But yeah, I'm like you. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. But with all the other things that are coming before it, just kind of focus my attention on that for right now.
Yeah. Things that are coming in the very near future is on August 10th on Disney Plus. The I Am Groot 5 shorts will drop, and they were a trailer. I still have yet to watch that trailer. I do love that little alien creature thing. The tree.
Yeah.
What does Thor call him in Infinity? It's tree, right?
Yeah, it's like, was it tree and and Rocket
Rabbit.
was a rabbit? Yep.
Yeah, tree and rabbit. My friends, yeah. Tree and rabbit. I'm sure that somebody is listening and it's like, no, it's a branch. He called him a branch. I'm like, damn it! I need to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
And then,
there's also sort of 5 shorts that, and I guess they're going to go to Netflix model with the shorts and drop them all on August 10th, and it has been renewed for a second season, so we'll get 5 more shorts. Don't know the date, but there will be a second season.
And then lastly, first look at X-Men 97, the continuation. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely a continuation. I know I think they announced this. Didn't they announce this at like D23 at some point before?
Oh, so yeah, we've heard about this news, and
yeah.
I had to clarify with you. Wait, so there's going to be new episodes?
Correct. Yes.
They better do my people some justice, as in Rogue and Gambit. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Well, all the original voice actors are coming back, so it's definitely hopefully they will definitely pick up some of the threads from seasons past, and of course, obviously, have new stories as well.
So before we jump into the dueling comic book franchises Hall H showdown that MCU won, there was another interesting kind of show off, and that we've been noticing and recognizing in the fact that we're gonna have Game of Thrones prequel start to air later on in August, and then in early September the new Lord of the Rings show is also going to start, also a prequel. And so the very similar vibes, and both of them had panels, both of them had trailers drop over this long weekend. I finally did watch a Lord of the Rings trailer. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I will say that first image with the skulls, mm-hmm. That is just imprinted in my mind. There's something so captivating about that. I still don't. The story, I don't know how much it'll grab me, but I did watch it. I did enjoy it. I think it's gonna be good, and I think it's interesting. I think it's good that both of these shows will be airing at the same time, because, I mean, they're similar yet they're very different in my opinion. Just because, yes, there are dragons in Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, but the reason why that show is so fascinating, for me at least, was the political maneuvers, which you got a lot of exposition in this latest trailer about the chess pieces that will, especially within the House of Targaryen itself. and a lot more female rivalry than I expected from going off of the previous show, which was more about males in power. So interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, as folks know, I did not watch Game of Thrones. But I am very intrigued by the House of the Dragon, and the trailer. I think that they were very wise actually to drop it, I guess, a few days before the actual presentation at Hall H. So it could just sort of have room to breathe because with everything else that was going on. But it definitely grabbed me. Definitely, what intrigued me was the political intrigue that was going on. Some of the things that was mentioned during the panel on Saturday was that there'll be 17 dragons in this series, and then just from the techie nerd thing, as far as just like the special effects, which it looks beautiful in the trailer. So I can just imagine when I'm watching it on a proper high def television, how that's just going to really pop with House of the Dragon. But they did use the volume soundstage technology that's been used a lot in Star Wars and other shows now. So to film the flying sequences with the dragons, and then there, one of the funny little moments, I guess, that kind of got during the panel was, I guess, Matt Smith is playing the one of the Targaryens, and I guess one of the leads. I guess someone in the hall was like, "It's Morbius time," and I saw some stills and some video reaction of whenever that happened real time. And he was just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, but seriously, you saw that movie?
Yeah. He was just like, huh?
What about Lord of the Rings? What did you think about that trailer?
Oh, yeah, that trailer. So the more I see of Lord of the Rings, I was already intrigued. I think the first teaser may have dropped around the Super Bowl or something like that, and it was like, okay, maybe. But the last two, the teaser that they dropped, I guess, about a week or so ago, and then the one they dropped for Comic-Con, like that scene at the beginning, just it definitely made a definite impression. I really enjoyed them really going through all the seeing Galadriel, which looks like she's going to definitely be a very integral part of this story, and with the elves, and we saw the Balrog, which is a nice little nod back to the Peter Jackson trilogy as one of the little flame creatures, is the one that like yanked Gandalf off the ledge, if I recall. And then at the end, at the end of the trailer, we got to see Sauron. So you're right. I think both of these shows being on at the same time, yes, they're in that fantasy realm of worlds and all, but you're right. I think they're a nice contrast to that. I think definitely can there's room for both of them to tell their stories, and of course, there's a lot of story with this original. I guess they're taking some various pieces of source material from Tolkien and fashioning this original story in the show. So so given that it's the most expensive television show ever produced, I want to see if they're going to get a lot of bang for that buck for all the dollars that spent on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what the payoff is. And that brings us to the DC panel that did happen, that did not include. Okay, I'm going to start out with all the things that were not included in the panel because it's hilarious. Nothing about the Flash. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Or Aquaman 2. Or Batgirl. Or Static Shock. Or Blue Beetle. Or the Batman 2. Nothing.
Or the Joker. Joker 2.
The Joker 2. Something. I still classify that as not a DC movie.
Well, here's the thing, but you don't have to classify as a DC movie. They named the panel the Warner Brothers presentation. So even
Right.
if, so they could have had it there, but they
Right.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the very last, the thing that Will speculated the most about happening did not happen. Henry Cavill did not show up. And so are people really making this shirt?
No, that's just me.
Okay, because I was going to say that is a lot of words. So for listeners, here's what Will wrote on the rundown. And remember, Will is a father, so he likes his dad jokes, and this is definitely one of them.
Yep.
Parentheses, t-shirt should be made that says, I stayed all night in line for a Hall H pass to see Henry, and all I got was a lousy Black Adam IMAX ticket.
Ta-da.
End parentheses.
They did. Oh, I mean, people in Hall H did get a Black Adam ticket. They did.
Hey,
I'm not lying.
Gonna see The Rock show up in full costume and everything, and another trailer that I did watch that. Oh my God, I did. So I was thinking about it. I was like, The Rock is a fine actor. He's done a lot of movies at this point. He's very comedic, and I think I've said this before. In case I haven't, the problem is he's so freaking likable that I can't take him serious as a villain, even when he says, "Will I kill people?" And I'm like, "Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?" I don't believe you.
Yeah. You know, we talked about this some months ago with Peacemaker and Cena and The Rock, because, you know, they're both, obviously they come out of WWE and can play a crowd, and, you know, and I will say that man can make a daggone interest. I mean, no, you know, whatever shade you want to throw at and rightfully throw at the unilateral, so, you know, unconditional surrender that DC did this past weekend, and Warner Studios did. The Rock at least for a few hours, his entrance basically, you know, was like,
I was gonna say he did not have the best entrance of the weekend.
No, he didn't. He had it up to a point. And then, just like everything else in DC, it just all went to hell.
Yeah. They're also holding back a lot with the Justice Society.
Yeah, they did.
And I don't know how to feel about that, because those are the quote unquote real heroes. And so you want your audience to like and get attached to them. And yet we have not seen hardly any of them.
Yeah. And that's a lot. I'm glad you brought that point up, because for many people who this might be their first introduction to the JSA, if you haven't, like, for example, watched Stargirl on the CW, or watched any of the DC animated properties, this will be your first introduction to JSA. So you're introducing Black Adam, and then you're going to have to introduce the JSA and Dr. Fate and Atom Smasher and Hawkman. You got to tell the story about Black Adam's origin, and then whatever the ultimate issue, and that because we haven't gotten much as far as plot details. So you're going to have to, like, do all of that in I assume about a maybe 2.5 hour movie. I don't know. I know it's a labor of love for The Rock. He's been pushing for this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a lot to pull off. And he's got the, like you said, he's got the charisma for it. But I think back to I can't help but think back to the movies of Brendan Fraser, The Mummy, whenever he was the villain, I can't remember the character he played in that, but
Scorpion King.
Scorpion King, yeah. And it's just, he's so I'm having that Scorpion King vibe. So I remember like watching The Mummy years ago, and I just laughed up. I couldn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like I'm having that same kind of thing with even without the fun you've poked at this film over time. I'm just feeling that myself.
Right.
And so it's a huge hurdle that he's going to have to overcome. And then especially when you see an anti-hero that was played so masterfully by someone in the same space, John Cena and Peacemaker.
Yeah, and especially because Amanda Waller is going to appear in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Miss Viola Davis herself, who loves the cameos.
Yeah.
She's all about the cameo action. Like, good on her. And this movie is set to drop on October 21st. 2 months later, to the day, we will get the quote-unquote potential threat to Black Adam. Shazam, Fury of the Gods will drop, which is a movie I forgot about. I remember watching Shazam. I like Shazam. I think we've seen maybe one other trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've known this project is coming, but it's kind of in light of all of the other stuff that DC, like the focus of DC news gets on. Shazam is not one of those projects. And good on it, because this trailer dropped. I watched it, and I have no freaking idea why, but it brought a freaking smile to my face.
Yeah.
This movie looks fun. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's going to be a good sequel to the original charm that the first one brought. They freaking quoted Fast and the Furious. I don't like. And Helen Mirren is one of the villains, right?
Yep, Helen Mirren, and then Lucy Liu is playing her sister.
Yeah, and I don't even watch Fast and Furious. I think the last one I saw was maybe 5, maybe 6. But I do know Helen Mirren is in that franchise, and so the fact that they quoted it, like, come on. Yeah, overall, I really like this trailer. I don't want to see any more trailers. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to December 21st.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is like a fun, holiday film, and it was.
It's about family.
It's about family. It's about family, and I like the first Shazam, and but it is a funny juxtaposition. You had like Black Adam and Shazam in the same panel, and they're arch enemies, and maybe I guess at some point they will have these two characters face off in live action. I'm hoping, but then again, maybe maybe they won't. I guess it just depends on the vibe. Again, I guess a lot depends on the vibe that we get from Black Adam, and because we know that Shazam will be overall very lighthearted, just based off the first film that we saw.
Yeah, and we don't know how Black Adam the movie is going to end. Mm-hmm. Which they would be stupid if they didn't leave a door open for a sequel, but we don't know. Like this whole anti-hero thing, you kind of know how it's going to end, but you don't.
Right.
That makes sense. You kind of, you know what choice he's going to make, but you're kind of also like, but you're a bad guy. So, and we do have this other character that's supposed to be our arch nemesis. So why can't we have a showdown between you two?
Yeah. And I think if I recall,
overall, it's right now DC doesn't really have that much of a plan.
Yeah.
Even though they have these projects, and I think that was made very obvious during this weekend with what they presented and what they focused on versus what the MCU did.
Yeah, it's very clear, and I'm honestly I'm really surprised in some regard, because given that the ownership, this would have been an excellent opportunity for the new ownership group at Warner Discovery to really put their imprint and really try to right the ship on this, and they just we just basically just put the white flag up and like, okay, we're just going to let Marvel have this weekend. It really, honestly, they just should, given that they really didn't like move the needle on it with anything really newsworthy, relatively speaking, they would have been just better off just not showing up and just try to put on an, and I haven't seen that there's going to be a DC fandom event this year. I mean, and so, I mean, as far as with the Arrowverse kind of winding down on the CW and all the uncertainty with the ownership group there. I mean, it was just a lot of just missed opportunities that Warner, that they just didn't seize the moment. And you're right. I think it does show the lack of planning and, that they have with this IP at this point. So.
Yep, definitely. So that brings us, so now let's go into the Marvel panel. So with the Marvel, there's like, oh my God, we got a few trailers, we got a bunch of release dates, enough to cast. So we're probably gonna miss some things, probably not. We're gonna do our best to cover what we really want to say about these things, and not meander too long on them, because there's a lot of people talking about everything Marvel did this weekend. Yeah. But to kick things off, we did get a brand new She-Hulk trailer. She-Hulk coming later this August. And the big takeaway was Daredevil. Yeah. They teased him full garb in it. I like it. I like it a lot. I didn't mind the first She-Hulk trailer. I know some people have some issues with especially the graphics. For some reason, and CGI always makes me cringe. For some reason, it didn't bother me. Same thing with this trailer. I love Tatiana's chemistry with Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, I agree. Even though Ruffalo, I don't know, something about, I don't know what it was, but I watched the trailer a couple times, and I don't know, it just annoyed me. And then I was listening to someone talk about this, speaking of like all the Marvel content out there, and someone made the point that it's like Ally McBeal in the MCU. And I hated that show. I hated Ally McBeal. So I'm like, oh, when somebody said that, I was like, oh shit. So I'm really hoping it's not that. But I know it's definitely going to be. It's definitely the more comedic, first true comedy that the MCU is going to have. Yeah. Even though people may say, well, what about Ragnarok? No. This is how the people are branding it. So. Right. The other thing, keep in mind, Wong is back. Speaking about cameos and people who love their cameos, Wong is in this show, and so is Abomination. So we might finally figure out what those two characters were up to and how they got to where they were in Shang-Chi. So. Yeah. And so it's She-Hulk attorney at law, and so we, the nice tie-in obviously with Daredevil showing up. I think we got more details about her defending the various villains and supervillains and stuff. I mean, she brings up Abomination and how she has conflict. So I like, there's definitely a lot of things there that I think it's going to be a good show. I just got to get over my Ally McBeal. Like, I got to get that out of my thing and just go into it with clear eyes. Right. So the next, we'll move on to probably the best trailer to drop this weekend. But it's funny because we very recently, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we're talking about this movie and not really sure when it was going to drop. With every, like, we've known about this project. There's been a lot of things that have happened between the first movie and now. And but we did surprisingly get confirmation. I was not expecting it, that Wakanda Forever will drop on November 11th of this year. And it will close out the very tumultuous phase forward that we've had. But like I said, this is the best trailer that dropped over the weekend. It gave me chills. Angela Bassett for an Oscar.
Yep. Go ahead. Hand it over now.
Like, I am so glad this movie is coming out in November because it will come out before Avatar 2.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it better. Like, this movie is going to do, because while I'm watching it, the visuals, I'm just like, this is the Aquaman movie we deserved.
Yeah.
This is gonna like James Cameron, I don't know how much time you spent underwater over the last like decade and a half, but this movie seems to have captured what that is, because the images of Namor, like, just found it so interesting. They built contrast, and a lot of people are saying, well, it didn't give too much of the plot. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. This is supposed to just make you want to see and understand what it's all about. They're going to tell you, you're literally going to go to a movie, and the movie will play out.
How can people say it didn't give us a plot? I mean, you're clearly seeing getting to our theme of Clash of Titans here, like we were talking about Marvel and DC. You have two, two empires. I mean, you have Wakanda and you have Atlantis, and and they fashioned Atlantis after the Mayans. So how can you not see that they are setting up a conflict, not necessarily the fisticuffs conflict, but a political conflict between these two great powers? Right.
And at the heart of it, you have a royal family who is losing members left and right. And I know some people have pointed out, like, when Angela Bassett is giving her speech and saying she's lost her entire family, everyone's like, okay, Shuri? Shuri, where is Shuri? Which, I mean, maybe Shuri left because of what happened to her brother. We don't really even know the details. We don't know if they're gonna say it was because of war with the Atlanteans that led to it, or something else. But
because we do see her with Riri Williams. So she clearly, and at the end of Black Panther, they did set up whenever they did open up Wakanda and become integrated with the rest of the world. Clearly, I mean, maybe that's, to your point, that's maybe what she was off doing, was being an ambassador for Wakanda while the Queen was, maybe taking up the mantle of Black Panther, because we did have the blip, after after the events of the first film. So there's any number of things that when we because I know there's everybody speculating who's in the suit at the end of the trailer. And the Queen's one person, as mentioned, obviously Shuri, Nakia. I mean, there's any number of individuals who could be in the Black Panther suit.
Yeah, and I think that they are, and I don't know how long this will last, but granted, it's a pretty tight turnaround, very similar to when we first saw the Thor Love and Thunder trailer. Very tight turnaround between when we saw that first trailer and when the movie actually dropped in theaters. So I hope that I have the same experience where I don't see too much, because right now they have me very intrigued with the right mysteries. That I don't want to know until I'm in my seat watching it.
Yeah, and really the emotional, because I mean, the first time I first watched the trailer when I got back from after watching Nope, and I was just all I could say as I was watching, I was like, wow. I mean, but then the second time, I got choked up. I mean, I just started thinking about, especially when they were showing the funeral procession, And I just thought about just thinking about in the song, really like let's just really got into the vibe with the soundtrack. And I mean, it was just an emotional, like, whoever did that, they nailed it. And I think, to your point about not releasing too many more trailers and stuff, I mean, they don't need to. I mean, this was like, whenever you like put up like top, and I know it'd be recency bias or whatever, but when you put up in film school like how to cut a trailer, this should definitely be in your like top 10 of like how to present a film, because this trailer really, it just, I haven't been moved by a trailer like this and for obvious reasons why we know why we're moved from it, but it really hit the right balance. And even for me, as someone who was just like, maybe they could have recast T'Challa, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like, okay, I trust what Ryan Coogler's doing here now.
Who knows? Maybe they did.
And you're right. That could be.
You really don't know.
You're right. You really don't, because we had the imagery of Namor getting born in the thing, and maybe, yeah. I mean, they could go any number of ways with this, and I'm just really on the enjoy the ride, and and maybe M'Baku will get a little run as a.
I think he's a strong contender for it, but
yeah.
So, and then to shut up to the last project this year that will happen for the MCU is the Guardians Holiday Special, which I don't think they talked about. So I'm just going to remind everyone that that's happening.
Yeah, they're saving that. I think that's one of the things they're saving for D23.
One of the things they're not saving for D23, or maybe they are, maybe we'll get an actual trailer release, because even though people have seen footage of this movie, Will has tried to bootleg it. I didn't
bootleg it. It's already, no, someone else bootlegged it. I did look at it briefly, but then I was just like, no, I stopped, because it was like, I could hear the audio, and it's already been pulled, by the way. So if you're going out there looking for it, don't bother.
Don't bother. Let this trailer happen in all of its beautifulness, because it's going to be a good trailer. Freaking Jonathan Majors. That man is like, he's going to steal this whole saga. I'm so excited for this movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium will happen February 17th, 2023. Jonathan Majors will get a full, like, we'll finally get to see him more at the focal point. This will take place in the quantum zone, which, don't forget, in the very first Ant-Man, Cross did get sucked into the quantum zone, so he will appear in this movie along with Bill Murray. However, we do not know what role he will be playing. But
maybe it'll be Scott's. Maybe it'll be Scott's publicist.
Maybe. I mean. Yeah, Paul Rudd is just having so much time. But it was really funny. Like, I did watch one interview with the cast of this movie, and I just saw Paul Rudd sitting next to Jonathan Majors. And I'm like, this is why you cast Jonathan Majors, because he's like double the size of Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I think I saw the same interview you're talking about. You're right.
He's so big. And I'm just like, God. I mean, Josh Brolin is a pretty big man, but Thanos looked very, very large with all the CGI, and I'm like, I don't think Jonathan Majors needs that. I don't think he's good.
Actually, and I know the other thing that one thought about Bill Murray also maybe possibly be MODOK. Because that was a little series on.
I heard Ross was going to be MODOK. There was something there.
Well, yeah, I think I heard that. Maybe, where did I hear that? Maybe Kind of Funny or something somewhere. So they were just speculating that, but that's a possibility given it's a quantum realm. But I know Patton Oswalt did the voice in the show that was on Hulu. Right. So I don't know if they'll try to bring that in or not. But yeah, we'll see.
Also set to drop sometime in the spring of next year on Disney Plus is Secret Invasion, which will feature Maria Hill and Talos from Captain Marvel, and the Skrull takeover that is occurring. They say that it's going to have a very similar tone to Winter Soldier, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, at the risk of dropping all of these projects, you kind of have ones that people really gravitate more towards, but it all depends on, well, did we see footage? Well,
yeah. Well,
was there a big casting announcement, a big plot point reveal?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, I think they're saving. I know they did for the lucky folks who were in Hall H. They did show a trailer to them, and there were some write-ups about it. I mean, basically, that Nick Fury comes out of a spaceship to meet Maria Hill, who she's tried to contact them, and so there, there was. He explains that he came back because the situation warranted his attention. So there was a trailer, and maybe we'll see it. Then maybe they'll drop it at D23 because there's still a lot that they held back this weekend.
Oh yeah, they're still going to drop 8 more projects. They're supposed to be announced during D23. 2 of them that are not the 2 of those 8 is Echo and Loki season 2, which will come spring, summer of next year. That'll be good. And then we also have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. Will Poulter will appear as Adam Warlock. And this is where the best entrance came from. I'm going to butcher his name. Do you know how to pronounce it?
Chudwiki Iwe, I think, from
the guy from Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, yeah.
The leader from Peacemaker, who didn't stand out to me at all, but this man comes out as the higher evolutionary, and the thing that got me was when he went and grabbed the person's phone and took a photo with them. I was like, I see you, sir. I like this. I like this a lot. I mean, his speech was fine, but there was something about that moment where I'm just like, he's fully in a character, and then it's just like, dude is having so much fun in that moment. Yeah. And he gives his very Loki-ish monologue, and this is the creator of Rocket, and the one image of the trailer I have seen is of baby Rocket. So I know whenever we get the real version of this trailer, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, I know James Gunn basically is like, paraphrasing here, but we're telling it into stories and stuff, and where this is at least with James Gunn, this is his final run with the Guardians, and you're right. I mean, with what I've just heard described as far as the trailer that was shown in the hall, I mean, we do get to learn more about Rocket's creation and stuff, and apparently it's a very emotional scene that was presented in the trailer. So yeah, that's again another trailer we'll probably get hopefully at D23 for the rest of us who weren't lucky enough to go to San Diego. But I'm actually looking forward to this one. I didn't like Volume 2 as so
agree.
And so as much as I did 1, but between seeing them again in Thor, the Guardians of Thor, and what I've that's been described as far as Volume 3, I am looking forward to this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run through the next couple of projects because all we really know about them are the dates. But we have the Marvels July 28th of next year, and then Blade November 3rd of next year. Yes, Blade is happening, everyone.
Yeah. Starts film.
Mahershala Ali, you did not.
Yeah.
That was not a figment of your imagination, if you will.
Starts filming in October.
Yep. And then Ironheart will also drop during the fall of 23, along with Agatha, the Coven of Chaos, which could be fall of 23 or spring 24, which will also be dropping alongside Daredevil, Born Again Disney Plus series with Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and I believe Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin.
They are both back. Yes, they are. And 18 episodes.
Freaking give me John Bernthal as Punisher now.
Yeah. I know how much I watched the Punisher, but I like John Bernthal. I mean, I wasn't such a big fan of the show The Punisher, but
it's not The Punisher. It's the second season, first 4 episodes of Daredevil season 2.
Yeah,
but that's the Punisher, and then Frank and Karen, yeah.
Well, which would mean, I saw some discussion about this because it's obviously the title of the new Disney Plus show is Born Again, and which was a Frank Miller's run as Daredevil writer. Was a very dark story, from what I recall. But didn't they adapt portions of that story in the Netflix shows?
Yeah, people have mentioned that.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if they're like going to just. I mean, I know they're bringing these characters over. I'm just wondering if they're going to how they're going to treat these in the Netflix shows and the larger MCU at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they'll do it very similar to Spider-Man, where they're not going to do origin story. But they are going, because they're using the same actors from the original series. So they're pretty much going to kind of allude to events, maybe. Yeah. But this is going to be its own show and its own circumstances. So anyways, we will get that in 2024, along with Captain America New World Order and the surprise, like Thunderbolts, which came out of nowhere.
So Captain America New World Order. So we obviously it's slated right now for May 3rd of 2024, and of course the confirmation that was, which we knew was coming, but we got official confirmation from the man himself that Anthony Mackie will be back as Sam. And another funny little thing too is just the title actually got leaked on Reddit, but I was like, oh, okay, so it really is a New World Order. But anyway, from the way filed the trademarks, but just a funny little lawyer thing there.
Yeah. What did you think about Thunderbolts announcement, July 26, 2024?
Yeah. So, and I guess I guess this will also end Phase 5 as well. I think it's been noted as I guess the MCU version of the Suicide Squad, and I guess we'll get Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. What's it? What's her name? I can't remember right now, but she's been assembling all these folks. We got U.S. Agent and Falcon and Winter Soldier. We got Yelena and Hawkeye and stuff. So and I'm sure along the way some of these other people that we've seen in Phase 4 and 5 will be a part of it, as well as new characters. So I'm intrigued. I don't know much about the Thunderbolt. I understand I think the name is a homage to Thunderbolt Ross, but beyond that, I'm really not that familiar with the source material. So my
mind went to Ross Family, and then my mind honestly went to, this will be the new Thor movie. I expect that announcement during D23, but that's just me. Yeah. Yes, and then in the fall of 2024, Fantastic Four will be happening. A lot of unknowns about that movie, and I'm just going to leave it at that because there's been already way too much speculation. Because
yeah, only thing I know is they got to find a new director because John Watts left to go work on Star Wars. Yep, that's.
Right. And then the next year, we shall be getting potentially not one but 2 Avengers movies. May 2nd, 2025. Jonathan Majors will own. I'm sorry, but just people, if you haven't just watched the very last episode of Loki, the very last episode, he owns that freaking screen, and it's so good.
He remains, yes.
He acts his ass off.
Yeah.
But Avengers Kang Dynasty will drop, and then in the fall potentially, and I keep saying potentially because I feel like they've tried to do this before and it didn't work out. So potentially it could be 2026, but we will get Avengers Secret Wars. And the Russo brothers will be back to direct both of these.
Nope, they're not. So we talked about that I think it was last week.
Suddenly I am mad.
Yeah, no, remember we did talk about whether or not because when they were at the premiere of the Gray Man, when they come back,
I know we talked about that, but I thought I heard somebody say that during.
No, Feige confirmed either on stage. I don't think on stage, but in an interview, he confirmed that they are not coming back. But he did say he for at least to direct the Avengers films, he did say he would love to have them back in some form, to direct something. But I know their slate's pretty full right now, so I think they got maybe 2 or 3 projects with Netflix and some other folks right now. So I guess it just depends on scheduling.
Yeah, and then that will be, both of those movies will be set in Phase 6, and as we said before, there are 8 more projects that will be announced, and I think September is when they will hold these D23.
Yep.
But there's a lot of gaps. But we have a plan. I think why this news I was just like really happy was mainly because it came after our conversation last week about the state of the MCU and how we were feeling in regards to Phase 4, which almost broke Will. Let's be honest, guys. If you listened to last week's episode, the man was like, I need some help. I'm tired.
Yeah, I did. This was definitely a shot in the arm for me as far as like, okay. And I did say if I could we trust at the end of our conversation last week, but still, I was one of those. I was getting to be one of those fans that was like, I don't know, are they going? Is the creative energy out? Is there going? Obviously, they'll never go to the route of DC, but but at the same time, But at the same time, I was looking for a plan, and especially after Feige teased that he was going to lay things out for us, and at Comic-Con, and it wasn't in the near future, I think he said. So I didn't know if it was going to be at Comic-Con this weekend or he was going to hold back to D23. So I'm good now, and I have my faith has been restored, and I'm on to D23 for some more good MCU things, because I mean there's still like the Werewolf by Night that was supposed to come out on Halloween this year. So I mean there's still some things that that Spider-Man, I mean there's a lot of what's going to happen with that with the MCU and Sony. I mean I think that maybe a D23 would be a great place to drop that kind of news as far as like extending that relationship. So yeah, there's a whole Armor Wars is another one that was announced that we didn't get any news about it this weekend. So yeah.
Are you gonna talk Star Trek?
Yes, so I will talk Star Trek. But I'm just showing you got me excited about the MCU and pulling me back from the ledge. So I appreciate you. My friend. But my first love as far as franchises, Star Trek, had a big panel on Saturday afternoon, Star Trek Picard is going into its final season. They dropped a trailer with the original cast from Next Generation, and also Seven and Rafi, who were part of the show for Picard. But one notable absence, of course, was Brent Spiner, because Data did finally officially deactivate or die in season 1 of Picard. But
He will be back as an old new character.
it looked amazing. The trailer was just a teaser. It was just seeing the cast talk about family and great shots of the cast, and they all look amazing in their new uniforms and stuff for the new series. And showrunner basically said during the panel, it's like, fans had to earn this moment, and I feel like I do feel like as a fan I've earned. So sorry about the pause there. We were in the middle of recording and Sarah's power went out. So I'm finish out our podcast this week with my thoughts on Star Trek block at San Diego Comic-Con. So as I was saying with the Star Trek Picard, the showrunner definitely wanted fans to earn it. Definitely felt like I earned the proper send off for the Next Generation crew. So really looking forward to this series coming back and finalizing the adventures of Jean-Luc Picard and the crew of the Enterprise D, Enterprise E. And we also got a trailer for Star Trek Lower Decks, which is, other than Star Trek Strange New Worlds, is probably one of my favorite iterations of New Trek. It's going to be going into a third season. The trailer that they dropped picks up where Captain, she was being detained, and it's just filled with so many Easter eggs in that trailer. If you are a Star Trek fan like me, every moment I was like pointing at the screen, like, oh my gosh, there's Cisco's, there's reference to this, reference to that. So that show's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of deep cuts as far as the Easter eggs and stuff, and the voice work that Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid, Don Lewis, everyone on there just is amazing, and such a fun show. Definitely recommended if you're a Star Trek fan, and it's going to be starting at the end of August, so it is right around the corner on August 25th. And then finally, we did have the Strange New Worlds panel, and of course they are in the process of finishing up the production for season 2. And the big news that came out of that panel was that the Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Strange New Worlds will have a crossover. So that'll be a mix of actual live action and animation, but there's going to be a big crossover event with the crew from the Enterprise and the crew of the Cerritos. So can't wait to see that in season 2.
Also, Paul Wesley talked about his portrayal of Lieutenant James T. Kirk in season 2 and how he's hoping to put his own original take on the character.
And with that, that is all from our San Diego Comic-Con episode. Thanks to everyone for listening. I hate to say I can't sign off this week, but just want to let everyone know we are going to be taking next week off just to recharge and after and get ready for all the amazing content that we'll be dropping. Watch the new Sandman show that will be coming up here in the first week of August. Just a couple quick other little notes from San Diego Comic-Con that I thought just wanted to quickly run through. Of course, there was a Sandman trailer that was released at San Diego Comic-Con. Looking forward to the series. Not very familiar with the source material. Did not read it, but I know Neil Gaiman that story is very well respected by a lot of fans out there, and he's also even talked during his panel during Hall H that he was looking forward to possibly adapting his Marvel 1602 into either a live action at some point down the road. Let us know what your thoughts are about some of your highlights. So of the weekend, we'd love to hear from you as far as what were your highlights from San Diego Comic-Con. So be sure to follow our crew on Twitter at SNN Nerd, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at scene_n_nerd, and be sure to check out our website at www.scenennerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Good Pods, or wherever you get your podcast. Good night, geek out, you're welcome.